Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, we are from group 4. We'll do presentation about review of the journal, analysis and implementation of network security at PT Myung, Highness, Indonesia. Before we start, let me introduce ourselves. My name is Syarifah Aini and my partner is Novridayanti. PT Myung Highness Indonesia is a company engaged in electronics with branches in other cities. Therefore, it is imperative to be able to build a network that can integrate all existing branch office in real time. So far, the company is still manual in exchanging data, and access to the ERP system is carried out at the head office. The problem that arises is the network security factor of particular concern. Private network technology is communication in its network that is separate from the public network. This study analyzes and implements network security by designing VPN companies, agencies, and other forms of business in interacting with branch office, field employees, and consumers through a PPTP-based network with the MikroTik router operating system. Network security is a broad term that covers a multitude of technologies, devices, and processes. In its simplest term, it is a set of rules and configurations designed to protect the integrity, confidentiality, and accessibility of computer networks and data using both software and hardware technologies. Every organization, regardless of size, industry, or infrastructure, requires a degree of network security solution in place to protect it from the ever-growing landscape of cyber threats in the world today. Today's network architecture is complex and is faced with a threat environment that is always changing, and attackers that are always trying to find and exploit vulnerabilities. These vulnerabilities can exist in a broad number of areas, including device, data, application, users, and locations. For this reason, there are many network security management tools and applications in use today that address individual threats and exploit, and also regulatory non-compliance. When just a few minutes of downtime can cause widespread disruption and massive damage to an organization's bottom line and reputation, it is essential that these protection measures are in place. A virtual private network, or VPN, gives you online privacy and anonymity by creating a private network from a public internet connection. VPNs marks your internet protocol or IP address, so your online actions are virtually untraceable. Most important, VPN services establish secure and encrypted connection to provide greater privacy than even a secured Wi-Fi hotspot. VPN in the form of the connection is divided into three, namely host-to-host VPN, which is a direct VPN connection between computers, site-to-site VPN, which is a VPN connection between routers of several LANs, host-to-site VPN, which is a VPN connection that is made by computer inside an LAN network. Media VPN itself can be done through locally LAN, which is a connection between two or more points in a network, the local itself. Private WAN network media, which usually VPN is done directly by the ISP. Routers. Routers are network devices operating at layer 3 or a network layer of the OSI model. They are responsible for receiving, analyzing, and forwarding data packets among the connected computer networks. When a data packet arrives, the router inspects the destination address, consults its routing table to decide the optimal route, and then transfers the packet along this route. A variety of routers are available depending upon their usage. The main type of routers are wireless router, broadband routers, core routers, edge routers. Winbox is a small utility that allows the administration of microtik router OS using a fast and simple GUI. It is a native Win32 binary, but can be run on Linux and Mac OS or OS X using Wine. All Winbox interface functions are as close as possible mirroring the console function. That is why there are no Winbox sections in the manual. Some advanced and system-critical configuration are not possible from the Winbox, like MAC address chain on an interface, Winbox chain lock. A network attack is an attempt to gain unauthorized access to an organization network intending to steal data or perform other malicious activity. There are two main types of network attacks. First, passive. Attackers gain access to a network and can monitor or steal sensitive information, but without making any change to the data, leaving it intact. And second one is active. Attackers not only gain unauthorized access but also modify data, either deleting, encrypting, or otherwise harming it. We distinguish network attacks from several other types of attacks, namely endpoint attacks, malware attacks, vulnerabilities exploit and attacks, and advanced persistent threats. In network attacks, attackers are focused on penetrating the corporate network perimeter and gaining access to internal systems. Very often, inside attackers will combine other types of attacks, for example, compromising an endpoint, spreading malware, or exploiting a vulnerability in a system within the network.
In its implementation, to be able to connect between the head office and branch office. Each office requires a router to create a virtual private network, where the head office is the server and the branch office is the client. The proposed VPN configuration stage is to create tunneling or PPTP and apply IP security for the security in data exchange. This VPN provides facilities for users to connect to a VPN server located on a branch office LAN. With this type, actually VPN user can access the VPN server from anywhere as long as there is an internet connection. In testing the network, the author used Packet Tracer software. Packet Tracer is Cisco-made software that is used to create virtual computer network. So there is no need to be afraid if there is a collision or data collision that can use the network to go down and eventually device such as router or switch or computer can be damaged. 1. Initial network testing. Initial network testing is a network test that is currently running at PT Myung Highness, Indonesia. Tests were carried out using a Cisco-made tool, namely the Cisco Packet Tracer. These tests will include making a schema, sharing static IP for server, user, and testing the connecting from the user to the server, or testing the connection between users. For branch office, the testing process is the same as at the central office because the branch network is independent and can be connected to the central network. So the connection test will only involve user at the branch office. And 2. The final networking testing. The final network testing is testing the proposed network design at PT Myung Highness, Indonesia. The network that is designed is not too much different from the existing network. The user's computer and the server computer are also without additions and change. Change only occur in the creation of server data to make it easier for users to share file and VPN point-to-point tunneling protocol. Namely, there is a tunnel, which means that the tunneling process is to create a tunnel in a public network to connect one network to another network of a group or a company that wants to build a VPN or virtual private network. Data exchange and network communication will go through this tunnel so that people or users from public networks who don't have permission to enter will find it difficult to tap important data on the network. In conclusion, this journal is actually intended for people who have basic security and IoT. It's okay for those who don't have a basic for reading this journal because the journal has a lot of pictures to make it easier in understanding the content of this journal. And also, in this journal, many terms can be heard in the ears of people who have no basic. But it is possible that people who already have that basic will read this journal. Suggestion. This journal has concise and to the point writing that makes it easier for reader to understand the content of the journal. However, there are some terms that are not explained in this journal, so we had to search in the internet for them. Apart from all that, This journal is very interesting to read. So that's all for the presentation from our group. We apologize for all mistakes we made. Thank you for your attention. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.